bank manager tears up the check of a young black woman, not knowing her MOM is a millionaire CEO. "Excuse me, ma'am, are you sure this check is real?" The question hit Zaria Vaughn like a slap. She blinked, her lips parting, unsure if she'd heard the bank manager correctly. Mr. Whitford leaned forward across his polished oak desk, holding up the pale blue check like it was contaminated. His thin lips curved in a disbelieving smile, and his gray eyes flickered with something sharper than skepticism, judgment. "It's from my employer," Zaria said softly, her voice steady but small. "I just finished a long-term design contract. That's the payment." Her fingers fidgeted with the strap of her purse. The lobby behind her hummed with quiet chatter, the sound of pens scratching forms, printers spitting receipt. People moved in and out, not noticing the small storm brewing in the corner office. Whitford set the check flat on his desk. He tapped a manicured finger over the number, $48,200, then looked back at her like she just confessed to robbing a bank. "You expect me to believe you earned this?" Zaria's stomach tightened. "Sir, Look, miss," he glanced down at the check. "Vaughn, we have protocol. Large deposits like this have to be verified. And quite frankly," he smiled thinly, "I've seen this kind of thing before." Her throat went dry. She knew exactly what this kind of thing meant. Not the amount, not the signature. Her dark skin, her thrifted blazer, the small braids pinned neatly behind her ear. She could almost hear what he didn't say out loud. "People like you don't walk in here with checks like this." "I can wait while you verify it," she said, keeping her tone polite. "It's from Morrow Design Group. They can confirm." He gave a fake chuckle like humoring a child. Of course. But you see, I've been in this business a long time. Miss Vaughn, I can tell when something doesn't add up." He stood up, straightening his tie, and walked a glass wall that overlooked the bustling floor. The sunlight bounced off his gold nameplate. "R. Whitford, Senior Branch Manager." "Tell me," he said over his shoulder, "what exactly do you do for Morrow?" "I'm a freelance designer," Zaria replied. "I designed their new campaign rollout. It's all over downtown right now." He turned, amusement flickering across his face. "You designed that? The City Forward campaign?" Zaria nodded. Whitford smirked. "Right. And I suppose next you'll tell me you drive a Tesla." Zaria clenched her fists under the desk. Every second felt heavier, like he was pushing her further into ground with invisible hands. She'd been here before. Different faces, same tone, same disbelief. "Sir, please," she said, her voice trembling. "I've waited weeks for this check to clear. I have rent due." Whitford raised a hand. "Miss Vaughn, I think we're done here." He picked up the check between two fingers, looked at it one last time, and then tore it clean in half. The sound ripped through the quiet office. Paper fibers, fragile and final. Zaria froze, staring as he tossed the shredded pieces into a metal bin. "You can come back when you have a real check," he said coldly. "And I'd suggest next time, don't waste my staff's time." The room spun. Her chest burned. She wanted to scream, to demand an apology, but the word stuck behind a lump in her throat. Through the glass, she saw Elena, the young teller who had been friendly when Zaria first came in. Elena's eyes widened from behind her counter, horrified at what she'd just witnessed. Zaria grabbed her purse, blinking back tears, and left without a word. Outside, the city blazed in afternoon sunlight. Cars honked, people laughed. Life went on, as if the world hadn't just watched her dignity torn apart by a man in a suit. She walked fast, her heels clicking against the pavement until she reached a quiet corner. Only then did she let herself cry, one silent tear, then another. "You said you'd never let them make you feel small again," she whispered to herself. "And yet here we are." Her phone buzzed. It was a call from Mom. She hesitated before answering. Her mother, Selena Vaughn, had a voice that could command a boardroom or make Zaria feel 5 years old again. "Zaria, baby, how'd it go at the bank?" Selena's voice was calm, melodic, slightly distracted like always. "Did they deposit the check?" Zaria hesitated. "Not yet. There was an issue." "An issue?" Selena asked, tone sharpening. "What kind of issue?" Zaria swallowed hard, glancing back at the tall glass building she'd just left. They didn't believe it was real. The manager tore it up. Silent. A sharp, dangerous silence. When Selena finally spoke, her voice was soft, too soft. "What's the manager's name?" Zaria wiped her cheek. "Whitford. R. Whitford." "Thank you, sweetheart," Selena said, her voice suddenly steady, the tone of a woman who didn't raise her voice to get power, because power already was her voice. "Don't worry, we'll fix this." "Mom, please don't." But the line had already gone dead. Back inside the bank, Elena Brooks approached Whitford's office cautiously. "Sir," she said, frowning, "I think you might have made a mistake with that last client. The name on that check." "Miss Brooks," he interrupted, waving a hand, "I don't pay you to question my decision. If you want to work your way up, take note. People pull scams scams all the time. It's not my fault she couldn't fake it better. He chuckled, taking a sip of coffee, completely unaware that the universe had just started counting down on him. Elena exhaled, muttering under her breath as she turned away. You just tore up the wrong woman's check. 2 hours later, a black Rolls-Royce Phantom glided to a stop in front of the same bank. The security guard straightened instantly, sensing that whoever was inside wasn't a client. She was a present. The door opened, and Selena Vaughn stepped out, tall, radiant, in a white power suit that shimmered against her deep bronze skin. Her heels clicked like punctuation marks of authority. Her diamond watch caught the sunlight, but it was her eyes, calm, calculating, unbothered, that made people step aside. She walked straight through the door. Every head in the lobby turned. Even Elena froze mid-sentence, her mouth slightly open. She'd seen that face before on the cover of Forbes, maybe Business Insider. The CEO of Vaughn Enterprises, the woman who'd built an empire from scratch. Selena didn't stop at the front desk. She headed directly for Whitford's office. The glass door swung open without a knock. Whitford looked up, annoyed. Excuse me, this is a private. Mr. Whitford, Selena interrupted, her tone velvet and steel. You tore up a check belonging to my daughter. Whitford blinked. I'm sorry, your daughter? Zaria Vaughn. She set her phone on his desk, showing the digital copy of the same check and the corporate seal. You questioned her integrity. You insulted her. And you destroyed a verified corporate payment. Whitford's face turned pale. Wait, you're Selena Vaughn? Correct, she said simply. CEO of Vaughn Enterprise, and the woman whose legal team will be in touch shortly. The heir left the room. Elena stood outside the office, pretending to sort papers, but unable to hide her smirk. Selena leaned in slightly, lowering her voice so only he could hear. You tore up a piece of paper, but what you really tore apart was a chance to show decency. That cost more than any check you'll ever cash. She turned and walked out, her heels echoing against the marble floor like a verdict. Whitford sat frozen, staring at the shredded pieces in his trash bin, the same pieces that just destroyed his career. Did that really just happen? Elena Brooks whispered to herself as the glass door slowly swung shut behind Selena Vaughn. The entire bank was silent. Even the printers had stopped, as if the building itself was holding its breath. Mr. Whitford sat frozen at his desk, color drained from his face. His fingers hovered uselessly over the keyboard. For the first time since she'd started working here, Elena saw him speechless. And deep down, she couldn't help thinking, he deserves every second of it. 15 minutes later, the whispers began to spread like wildfire. That was Selena Vaughn, right? The CEO. You mean the woman from Forbes? She came here because of a check? What did Whitford do? No one had an answer. Elena's co-workers had already pieced together the story. The young black woman from earlier, the one with the soft voice and thrifted blazer, was Selena Vaughn's daughter. By the time Whitford finally stumbled out of his office, people looked away. He walked toward the break room, loosening his tie, trying to steady his shaking hand. Elena followed him in. Sir, she said cautiously, I can help you file a correction report. If we call corporate now, maybe we can... No, he snapped, his voice cracking. No report. No calls. I'll handle this. But Elena could see the truth in his eyes. He'd already lost control. Across town, Zaria Vaughn sat on the couch of her small apartment, her sketchpad untouched beside her. The sunset painted the walls gold, but she couldn't feel any of it. Her mind replayed the sound of the check tearing, over and over like a cruel loop. Then her phone buzzed. Mom. Zaria hesitated, then answered. Hey, sweetheart. Selena's voice was calm but sharp like polished glass. I spoke to the manager. Mom, I told you not to. He needed to be reminded, Selena interrupted. People like him only understand when someone with power speaks. He won't disrespect you again. Zaria sighed. I didn't want revenge. I just wanted fairness. Selena's tone softened. Fairness doesn't exist in their world, baby. You have to make them see you. Make them remember. Zaria didn't respond right away. She looked at the sketches on her wall. The ad campaign she created for Moral Design. The work she'd poured her soul into. She'd built that alone, without her mother's name, without anyone's help. And yet, one man's disbelief had made her feel invisible. Mom, she said quietly, I don't want people to respect me because of you. Then make them respect you because of you, Selena said gently. But never let them tear you down again. Zaria nodded, a flicker of resolve returning to her voice. What did you do? Let's just say, Selena replied, he'll have a very interesting morning tomorrow. The next morning, the story broke. Hashtag bank scandal in Atlanta trended across social media. Someone from the bank had leaked a snippet of the security footage, showing Mr. Whitford tearing up Zaria's check and tossing it into the bin. The caption read, when a bank manager tears up a black woman's check because he thinks she doesn't deserve it. The video went viral within hours. News anchors replayed the footage on loop. Comment sections exploded with outrage. This is why we talk about racial bias in finance. Imagine humiliating someone like that. Selena Vaughn's daughter? Oh, he messed up big time. At Vaughn Enterprises headquarters, Selena sat behind her glass desk, watching the chaos unfold on a massive curved screen. Her assistant stood by, uncertain whether to be impressed or terrified. Ma'am, do you want to release a statement? Selena smiled slightly. No, not yet. Her eyes gleamed. Let him feel the silence first. At the bank, chaos had erupted. Customers demanded meeting. Calls from corporate poured in. Reporters waited outside with cameras flashing. Whitford stood in the conference room, surrounded by executives. His tie was gone, his confidence shattered. Mr. Whitford, the regional director said sharply, did you or did you not destroy a verified client's check? It wasn't verified at the time, he stammered. The signature looked off. I was following procedure. Procedure? She snapped. Procedure does include racial profiling. He froze. A man in a gray suit set down a folder. Inside were printed screenshots of the viral video, comments, hashtags, and the Forbes cover of Selena Vaughn. You didn't just insult a customer, the man said coldly. You insulted one of the most powerful CEOs in the country. Congratulations, Whitford. You just became the face of corporate humiliation. Whitford's mouth went dry. Please, I can fix this. I'll apologize publicly. You'll do nothing. The director cut in. You're on indefinite leave, effective immediately. As security escorted him out, every employee stopped what they were doing. Some hid their smile. Others whispered, but no one defended him. And at her desk, Elena finally exhaled, whispering to herself, justice looks good in daylight. 2 days later, Zaria stood in a quiet downtown cafe with her laptop open. The world had moved fast. People wanted interviews. Talk shows had called. Even Moro Designs issued a public apology, offering her a permanent position. But Zaria wasn't sure what she wanted anymore. She just wanted to feel whole. Then she heard a familiar voice behind her. You always find the quietest corners, Selena said, walking in. Zaria looked up, half smiling. Old habit. Selena sat across from her. For a long moment, neither spoke. You could have let me handle it differently, Zaria said finally. Now it's everywhere. People see me as a victim, not a professional. They see you, Selena corrected, and that's what matters. But I want to be seen for my work, not for being your daughter. Selena's gaze softened. She reached across the table, taking her daughter's hand. Zaria, when I was your age, I thought strength meant fighting alone. But sometimes strength means letting people know who you are and what you come from. You don't know the word humility when they give you disrespect. Zaria's eyes glistened. I wanted to prove I could do it myself. And you did, Selena said. That check, that project, that was you. All I did was make sure the world didn't erase your name. For the first time in days, Zaria smiled, a real one. That evening, Selena received a call from her lawyer. Ma'am, the bank wants to settle privately. They're offering compensation, full apology, and media retraction. Selena considered it, staring out her window at the glittering city below. Tell them I'm not interested in money, she said. I want policy change. Every manager in that branch will undergo diversity and sensitivity training. No exception. Understood, the lawyer replied. When she hung up, Selena looked at a framed picture on her desk, a young Zaria holding a sketch pad bigger than her arm. Her smile was bright, fearless. Never again, Selena whispered. No one will make her doubt who she is. Weeks later, Zaria walked through the doors of Moro Design, not as a freelancer, but as their new lead creative director. The receptionist smiled nervously as she passed. Everyone knew her story. The scandal had turned into inspiration. She stood by the huge window overlooking downtown. Her reflection stared back, confident, calm, and quietly powerful. Her phone buzzed with a message from her mom. Selena, proud of you, baby. You turned pain into power. Zaria smiled and typed back. Zaria, you taught me how. She looked out at the city, the same one that had tried to humiliate her, and whispered, you'll remember my name now. Miss Vaughn, are you nervous? The camera light blinked red. The studio was small but buzzing. Wires, microphones, warm stage light. Zaria adjusted the mic clipped to her blazer, trying to steady her breath. A little, she admitted with a soft smile. But I think it's time people heard the full story. The host, a middle-aged black woman with kind eyes named Ava Linton, nodded. The video of what happened to you has been viewed over 20 million times. You turned humiliation into advocacy. What gave you the strength? Zaria looked directly at the camera. Her voice was calm, but carried a quiet fire. Because that moment, when he tore up my check, wasn't the first time I was told I didn't belong, but it was the last time I let someone decide my worth. The studio went still. Even the crew paused. Ava leaned in. And your mother, Selena Vaughn, Vaughn, one of the most influential black CEOs in America. How did she react when she saw the footage? Zaria smiled slightly, exactly like you'd expect a mother to. They both laughed, easing the tension. But then Zaria's tone softened. People think this story is about revenge. It's not. It's about recognition. There are thousands of people like me, working hard, achieving big things, who get dismissed because of how they look. I just happen to have a mother whose name made headline, but this could have happened to anyone. From the back of the studio, Selena Vaughn watched silently. Her face was calm, but her eyes glistened with pride. She remembered a younger version of herself, 27 years old, standing in a bank lobby decades ago, holding a business proposal instead of a check. A man behind a desk had told her, "Sweetheart, you should probably stick to retail. These loans aren't for you people." She had walked out that day and vowed to build her own empire. Now her daughter was on national television, rewriting history in real time. When the cameras went off, Zaria walked toward her. "You came," she said with a grin. "Wouldn't miss it for the world," Selena replied. "You handled that like a queen." Zaria hugged her mother tightly. "I think I finally understand you." Selena smiled. "And I finally see that you didn't need me to fight your battles, just to remind you who you are." Across the city, in a dim apartment, Whitford sat hunched over a glass of bourbon, watching Zaria's interview on TV. Her calm confidence cut deeper than any lawsuit ever could. He'd lost everything, his position, reputation, even the quiet arrogance that had once shielded him. He muted the TV and stared at his reflection in the dark screen. "One mistake," he muttered, "just one." But even he knew it wasn't just one mistake. It was years of quiet bias, the little smirks, the assumptions, the superiority. And now, the world was finally holding him accountable. On his phone, a notification pinged. Breaking news. Vaughn Enterprises partners with First Horizon Bank to launch new diversity initiative in financial institutions nationwide. Whitford exhaled, sinking back into his chair. He'd been replaced, not just in his job, but in the world that no longer tolerated the man he used to be. 2 months later, a massive banner hung above a hotel ballroom. "The Future of Equality in Business," keynote by Zaria Vaughn. Hundreds of entrepreneurs, investors, and young creators filled the seats. Cameras flashed. Zaria walked on stage in a white suit, calm but glowing with purpose. "A few months ago," she began, "someone tore up my check because they couldn't believe someone like me could earn it. Today, I'm standing here to tell you, no one can tear up your worth." Applause erupted. Selena watched in the front row, tears in her eyes but pride in her smile. Zaria continued, her voice rising with every word. "When they tell you to tone it down, speak louder. When they tell you to prove yourself, look them in the eye and say, 'I already did.' And when they tell you you're not enough, remember, you were never asking for permission." She looked at the crowd, at the faces shining back with hope and recognition. "Power," she said softly, "has a memory. It remembers who tried to silence you, but it also remembers who stood back up." Thunderous applause filled the hall. That night, mother and daughter sat together on Selena's penthouse balcony. The city lights shimmered below, like stars scattered upside down. "You know," Zaria said, sipping tea, "I think I finally understand why you never talk about the past. Because I wanted you to build your own," Selena said. "And you did." They sat in comfortable silence for a moment, the night air cool and gentle. Then Selena glanced sideways, a faint smile tugging her lip. "But if you ever want me to tear up a few more checks, I still can." Zaria burst out laughing. "Mom!" Selena chuckled. "What? I'm just saying, some people need reminders." Their laughter drifted over the city, warm and free. Below, billboards glowed with Zaria's new campaign, her designs now representing major brands, community programs, and scholarships for underrepresented creatives. The same hands that once held a torn check now shaped future. Weeks later, Zaria returned quietly to the same bank. Different atmosphere, different faces. Elena Brooks was now standing behind the manager's desk, promoted after the scandal. When she looked up and saw Zaria, her eyes widened. "Oh my God, Zaria Vaughn. I didn't expect." "Please," Zaria said with a smile. "Just Zaria." Elena grinned. "What brings you here?" "A deposit," Zaria said, sliding an envelope across the counter. "For the new community scholarship fund." Elena opened it, eyes widening at the number. "This is incredible. It's called the Second Chance Initiative," Zaria explained. "It's for people who've been turned away before they even got to prove themselves." Elena blinked back tear. "You really turn it all around." "That's the goal," Zaria said softly, "to make sure no one else feels the way I did that day." As she turned to leave, Elena called out, "Zaria, thank you for coming back." Zaria smiled. Sometimes you have to return to the place that broke you, just to show it never could. That evening, the city skyline gleamed like polished glass in her penthouse office. Selena closed a folder marked Whitford case settled. Then she looked out the window at the same skyline she'd once faced alone. Her phone buzzed. A message from Zaria. "We did it." Selena typed back. "No, baby, you did." She smiled, set her phone down, and whispered to herself, "That's my legacy. Not the company, not the wealth. Her.